Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we're taking our very first look at the brand new Tier 7 French battleship that's in testing, aka the rental, the Picardie. I hope I said that correctly, or at least somewhat close. But the Picardie, the you know, it's a thing. But it's a Leon with 305 millimeter guns. But I am running the Dinobot Grimlock with Haruna and Franz von Hepper for some full secondary fun. Not one for the nuisance, Porcupine, Sharpshooter, and Master Mechanic. I did have fully packed on for the video. I don't recommend that, but we were running a triple division and I thought it'd be funny. But yeah, fight fire with fire is definitely the better choice. But we'll show you why when we get to the video. But other than that, we are running secondary battery mod 2. We are running steering gears mod 2, which is going to come in real handy. We're going to have concealment system mod, and we are going to have secondary battery mod 3 epic module. So that we get, for every 30,000 damage, we get a little bit faster reload on our secondaries. Alright. So let's talk about this thing. First of all, you get 5 heals with this build. You get 2 main battery reload boosters, which is pretty nice. And you have the brand new enhanced secondary targeting 2 booster, which is like the same thing that the BA Montana has. So instead, it gets a lot better reload time, shell grouping, dispersion, and main battery shell grouping as well. Lasts for 30 seconds and takes 120 seconds to reload. We are running the Epic Battle Booster for a little bit of extra range and speed. We have the Italian Unity flag, because if you squint just right, kind of looks like a Spartan helmet. And we're running the camo that comes with the ship, the Type 9. Basically looks like we're not running a camo at all. Survivability, 61,000 hit points is pretty low for a Tier 7 battleship. But then again, this is basically a Leon with 305 millimeter guns. 38% torp reduction is actually pretty good though, so there's at least that. But yes, 305 millimeter 45 caliber MLE 1910s. These are very old guns and they are not very good. 16 of them total. So just like a Leon, only Leon gets 14-inch guns and this gets 12-inch guns. Firing range is 17.8 kilometers with a reload time of 27 seconds, which again is terrible. These are 14-inch guns, or sorry, 12-inch guns. Why are they this long of a reload? Like, that makes no sense. When you can consider the fact that Jean Bart and stuff have 15-inch guns and reload in 10 seconds faster. Like, it's absurd. 180-degree turn time, again, terrible, 36 seconds. Part of that is because of what we're running, but yeah, it's just not good. HE shell maximum damage 35 with a 15% chance to set fires. AP shell maximum damage of 7,450. The secondaries, though, are the star here. The secondaries are 130 millimeter 45 caliber MLE 1932s. You get 8 of those, reaching out to 11 kilometers with a 4.4 second base reload, firing HE with a maximum damage of 1,800 and a 9% chance to set fires. And you also get 130 millimeter 45 caliber MLE 1932s that you get 16 of, and they reach out to 11 kilometers, reload in 4.4 seconds with a HE shell maximum of 1,800 and a 9% chance to set fires. So total, you have 16 plus 8, so that will be 24. 24 secondaries firing 130 millimeter HE, which is pretty disgusting. AA defense is not terrible, but not amazing. You get quite a bit of different AA. But a lot of it's very close range, so it doesn't really do you any good. 13.2 millimeter 76 caliber CAD MLE 1929. You get 12 of those doing 21 damage per second, reaching out to just 1.2 kilometers. 13.2 millimeter 76 caliber CAC MLE 1929. You get 24 of those that do 30 damage per second. My brain went dyslexic on me. 1.2 kilometer firing range. 25 millimeter 60 caliber CAD MLE 1939s. You get 12 of those doing 34 damage per second, reaching out to 3.1 kilometers. Then you have the 37 millimeter 50 caliber MLE 1933s. You get 40 of those doing 46 damage per second, reaching out to just 3 kilometers. Then you have the 130 millimeter 45 caliber MLE 1932s. You get 8 of those dual-purpose secondaries reaching out to 5.2 kilometers, doing 34 damage per second, and the 130 millimeter 45 caliber MLE 1932 quad turrets. You get 16 of those, doing 49 damage per second, reaching out to 5.2 kilometers. So a lot of different AA, but it's not all that effective. Maneuverability, maximum speed, 30.9 knots with this build. Turning circle is actually pretty good on this thing. 700 meters with a 10.7 second rudder shift. And we have the detectability by sea of 12.4 kilometers. Guaranteed is always 2. Detectability by air is 10.4. And detectability while firing in smoke is 11.1. Statistics, I've only played one game in this, so take everything that I say with a grain of salt. Okay. I will say these guns aren't very accurate, but there are 16 of them, so it kind of makes up for it. Let's look at the armor, though. So the armor is interesting. You got 32 millimeters of armor, which is different than the Leon, which is funny, because technically the Leon shouldn't be capable of what this thing is capable of tanking, but it is what it is. But 32 millimeter bow, but you also have an extended belt there as well. Which kind of protects you from being overmatched a little bit by Musashi. But you got gigantic torpedo blisters under the water as well, and then the entire side of the ship is coated in 180 degree or 180 millimeter armor. So pretty solid there. And it is a bit of a turtleback armor scheme as well. I don't know if you guys noticed that. So as you can see, it is a turtleback. So this thing doesn't like to get citadelled unless, of course, you go through the bow, but it's pretty well protected through the bow, so you're not likely to get sent back to port in a hurry. However, if you go broadside, you're still going to get slapped. Like, there's a lot of shells that are going to arm because of the thick armor and thick torpedo blisters, so keep that in mind. Overview. Guns aplenty. High number of guns allows for a lot of damage from a single salvo. Yes and no. Yes, technically, in theory, that would be the case, but in reality, most of the guns are going to go all over the place, so you're not going to be able to slap as hard as you'd think. Barrage, equipped or can be equipped with main battery reload booster, already talked about that, and good concealment means the ship can get closer to enemies before being detected. The Picardie. In 1912, France initiated the construction of larger docks at shipyards in Toulon and Brittany. By that time, the major naval powers were laying down ships significantly more advanced than their predecessors in terms of main caliber. France was also contemplating a shift towards a caliber of 14.6 to 15 inches, 370 to 380 millimeters. However, naval guns of this size were not yet accessible in France. As a solution, engineers opted to increase the number of smaller caliber guns, with the final design featuring as many as 16 guns housed in 4 turrets. She was designed in 1939. All right. Other than that, I mean, it's not a bad-looking ship. It's kind of an older design, you can tell. But look at the amount of secondaries you have on this thing. So you've got the dual turrets there. You've got the quad turrets back here. And then some more dual turrets. So you've got a lot of secondaries. And they are actually pretty effective. And they have some decent firing angles. Not the best, but decent. But, yeah, we're going to showcase just how funny this thing can be as a triple division of these things. Kind of like we used to do with the Leon. But yeah, overall, I kind of like the ship. I'll see how it goes. Maybe you guys don't like it. I want to know what you guys think. But yeah, I haven't heard too many people saying they don't like it. I think it's kind of a fun ship, even if it is a little bit trolly. But yeah, with that being said, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we are going to be on Shards B-Spawn, and we're with Aaron and Airsoft Alphonse in a triple Picardie division. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I never played this. You guys saw, I've only played one battle. This was funny and hilarious, and I thought that this would be a perfect game to showcase the ship, because this is a meme ship, okay? That's all it is. This is not a ship that you're going to take out all the time and go out and dominate. Like, this is simply something that you and your friends end up playing, having a good time, and this was the perfect game to kind of illustrate that. But we're going to be up against a enemy Graf Zeppelin, I believe. Or no. It's a Chikalev. It's a Chikalev. I forgot. It is a Chikalev in the match. But what I want you guys to do, I want somebody in the chat Anybody, I don't care who it is. Somebody in the chat, count how many torpedo beats there are in this one. Seriously. You guys wonder why I run steering gears on a lot of my battleships? Well, first of all, this thing has 4 quadruple turrets. Alright, so I need to be able to do the Dreadnought Shuffle. You saw it has decent armor, if you know how to use it. But it also has a lot of guns, and I want to be able to use those guns to the fullest ability that I can. So being able to swing out, do that, is a good thing. Now, you're going to notice that me and Aaron and Airsoft are going to go towards the left, and Airsoft just happens to be the one that is my torpedo protection, essentially. He's going to be between me and the carrier is going to fly in, and I'll be honest, the torpedo people in this lobby were feeling some type of way by the time this one ends, because they were struggling. They were struggling. They wanted our giblets real bad, and they were struggling. But, again, I just want you guys to count it. Now, right off the bat, we see the York out here pushing. I go ahead, call him out. I take the shot, and Airsoft also puts a shot out. This guy's not even aware that he's being shot at this point. But we overlead him a little bit, but we capped him with a little bit. Airsoft ends up getting maybe 1 or 2 pins, and then I think Aaron put a couple of pins on him as well. But we are about to be loaded, and, I mean... The good news is, like, he is still begging for it, right? So now we should have a much better aimed shot. We know he's going to reverse, so we're going to go ahead and aim for the rear of the ship, try to get a good shot here. We're going behind the island. Airsoft decides to go in front of the island, which is never a good idea, but we get another good hit on him. Airsoft is just getting absolutely pummeled by the enemy Chikalev. Again, it's going to happen. Like, when you're in a lobby with that thing, bad things are going to happen. But he does end up taking out the York, which is good news for the team. That's one less person to deal with. And then once we turn this corner and commit to the push, that's the end of the game, right? Like, once the 3 of us decide to push in, it is over for the Reds. They just don't know it yet. It is hilarious what ends up happening. Now, again, unfortunately for Airsoft here, he is just not going to have a good time. Because he is not only going to be torpedoed by the Chikalev, who got his aim right on this one, but he's also going to be cross-torped by the enemy Split, which we didn't know was here. We knew there was a destroyer here, but we didn't know who it was, and it turns out to be the enemy Split. But I think he dodges the torpedoes of the Split, but he is flooding, unfortunately, and he's burning, which is not ideal. We're able to get away from the torpedoes, but as we try to push towards the cap here, there's just not much that the Airsoft can do. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I thought Airsoft Alphonse was dead here, but as you can see, the torpedo bombers are coming in. We're gonna just do the smart thing here. If you get a chance, just turn towards the torpedoes of the Chikalev. They have such a long arming distance that there's a good chance that if you turn towards them, you're simply going to force them to not arm before they hit you. Not saying that that'll always work. If the guy that's shooting at you with the torps ends up dropping them early, you're still going to take him. But Kagero def strikes the enemy Nelson, which is hilarious for so many reasons. But as we push out, I mean, we've just got so many people out here begging for it. And this Iowa, I mean, what more can you ask for, right? We take a shot, waterline. The Chikalev goes for Aaron here, and surprisingly doesn't do a whole lot of damage. But you got to remember, this thing has a lot of armor. Despite it being a relatively small ship, it's got a lot of armor, so it's going to be a little bit hard to get a hold of good hits. But we try to get some shots out here. We used our reload booster for this too, and unfortunately, like, we're not really rewarded for it. And that's really the biggest issue that I have with this. Like, these guns are not the best, but Aaron ends up taking a torpedo on the way in here. Split is pretty much getting himself into trouble. He drives right into our cruisers. We're just shredding planes at this point because they're flying over our teammates, they're flying over us. It's just not a good way for their planes to find out that they can live. And somehow Airsoft is still alive. I don't know how I thought the man died. I ain't gonna lie. Like, at one point, we thought that he was just gone, and it was just me and Aaron, so we're just fighting accordingly. We're just going about our plan. We've got a potential look here. I go ahead and I force the shot, because you miss all the shots you don't take. It says that I can't, but as you can see, some of these shells actually do manage to hit and do a pretty good chunk of damage. The skip bombs come in and completely swing and miss on both of us, which, again, is just funny to me. This guy in the Chikalev is clearly not the guy, you know? It's not difficult to play the Chikalev, but this guy's making it look real hard. But as we push towards these guys, what you're going to see is two Picardies, or Picardies, I don't know what you're going to call it. Two of us come around the corner and just start causing all the chaos. You've got all of these battleships sitting out here. You've got a Rochester out here. You got the Split out here. We're going to aim these shots a little bit higher this time. Just want as many hits as possible. Knowing that these are 305s, we just want to get as many hits as possible. And we get a little bit of damage. But again, really not that impressive. The main guns on this thing are pretty lackluster. But here, I end up burning my freaking secondary booster way too early. They couldn't fire initially. But when they do fire, they start doing quite a number between us shooting at the Nebraska with the secondaries and Aaron. Now, I initially had them set to go for the Iowa, but Iowa was out of range initially. And we do get a little bit of a booster here, but now here's where the torpedo beats really start to kick in. So we were able to easily dodge those torps, no problem. Then we notice that the enemy Nebraska is trying to torpedo us. You can see his planes get launched here. I wonder who they will go for. But now that our secondaries are starting to really kick off, watch how quickly we start getting like damage, right? Now here we go for the superstructure. You can see the planes from the Nebraska coming in from the right. So we're going to slow down and we're going to turn in towards those planes. Again, it doesn't take rocket scientists to dodge drops, right? Like, it's really not that hard to figure out. But what you got to do is try to dodge while also not over-angling against the enemy ships. But as we manage to get a good hit on the Nebraska and dodge his torpedoes, our secondaries are still just going and doing what they got to do. Now, we get a good look here at the Rochester, so we go ahead and take that with one gun. Secondary is still trying to get rid of the Nebraska. Unfortunately, airsoft did end up going down. We've got more torpedoes on our left. We are going to take some torps here, which is not ideal. But again, that was to be expected. We can't always see all of the torps, but we did dodge most of the torps in this match. And as we dodge, I think Aaron ends up taking a torp here, and that causes a perma-flood for him, which is unfortunate. Because he said something about, why didn't you take more torps? I'm like, I took all of them from the first salvo, like the first rack. I can't help it that the guy screwed it up. But then, of course, here comes the Chikalev again, trying to torpedo us. We're able to just outrun these and turn towards them to kind of move the rear around. And we're able to dodge some more torpedoes while continuing to get HE from our secondaries involved. And we're about to get our reload boost, or our secondary booster back. As we set another fire on the Iowa. We take a shot at the Iowa superstructure here to try to finish him off. And we are going to get the kill on him. But as we go out here, we have 37,000 hit points. We have managed to get through all of this with taking very little damage. And if it wasn't for that one set of torps from the Split, we would have basically got away with taking almost no damage in this match. But unfortunately, Rochester ends up burning down Aaron. And we end up having fight fire with fire not on, because I decided for once, you know, we have a division, why not use a little bit of will to rebuild and see what happens. But yeah, what ends up happening is I immediately regret not having fight fire with fire. As our damage control is about to come back, we've got the skip bombs coming in, they get a fire, and I know that I'm going to be shot with HE, right? Like, we know it's coming. We got the Split on one side, we got the Rochester out here, we got the skip bombers. Like, there's a lot of HE, so we don't want to damage control. And we take a shot here at the Rochester's bow side plating, because again, he was bouncing off the border. I thought we would be able to get a good pin there. Didn't get it. Fire the rear turret of Justice after him, and we do end up getting a hit there, but not a whole lot of damage. And between the carrier trying to torpedo us, the Rochester shooting, the enemy Split trying to torpedo us, we're trying to continuously change what we're doing. We are going to go ahead, dodge more torpedoes, and then of course we turn in, and we're able to dodge the torpedoes of the carrier as well. We should be able to use our last heal here to get a little bit more. But right as we go on cooldown, the Split starts firing his guns. He's able to set a fire on us immediately upon it going on cooldown. We fire the rear turret at the Split, and we're about to get the rest. We left him with just enough to get away, but I know where he's at. He's not hiding from us, so we go ahead and fire the guns into the smoke, completely blind, as we are quadruple fired, which is something you don't see very often. And our secondaries are now firing at the carrier as well as the Rochester. I'm trying to swing around. I was hoping that we would be able to get a shot off, but no, we never lived long enough. But we did get another fire out there on either the carrier or the enemy Rochester. But at the end of the day, that's going to do it. The game is over. But 148,000 damage. A lot of secondary hits there towards the end. But I actually had a lot of fun in this match. And again, if I hadn't been running Will to Rebuild and we had Fight Fire with Fire, I wouldn't have died in this lobby. I just wouldn't have. And that would have allowed me to potentially get a little bit more damage. But it's a fun little ship, man. We shot down 19 planes. We dodged all the torpedoes. Top of the leaderboard, 2,538 base XP. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, I will see you in the next video.